Hello everybody, it's TannerFishies here, back again with a new Ninjago video here on the channel. In today's video, I'm going to be explaining to you guys and kind of celebrating how I was able to actually write a Ninjago movie. Now, quick disclaimer, this is of course an unofficial movie made by myself to celebrate the 10th anniversary of Ninjago originally. Eventually, it ended up turning into a 100,000 subscriber project after I managed to not complete the script in time for Ninjago's 10th anniversary. But regardless, we're here now. And I want to go ahead and showcase the script to you guys and kind of explain how I wrote it, what exactly went into the process of designing the story, and essentially just explaining my vision to you guys. Now, Ninjago Cessation is the name of this project, and essentially I decided to name it that because I wanted this to be a conclusion of sorts to the Ninjago story. In a lot of ways, this storyline is my dream conclusion to the actual series itself, and this does fall in continuity with the story in my own vision, but obviously this is not considered a canon property of the Ninjago storyline, unless it gets adapted later, which it probably will not. Now, in terms of the project itself, there will indeed be a link down below in the description to actually access this, and I will be uploading a full reading of the script later on today, so stay tuned for that and look out for that video. It's going to be quite long as well, so stick around for that. But regardless, the script itself is going to be down below in the description, and I'm going to show you guys how to access that right now. Alright guys, so like I said, the link down below in the description will bring you over to this Google Doc. This is where you can actually access the script itself, the entirety of the screenplay, and the notes that I've actually written about the screenplay. If you click on this document right here, like I said, it'll bring up my notes. You guys can read through these at your own leisure. Just some stuff in here that I think you guys should read before you actually get into the meat and bones of the story, if you will. And it's all kind of set up here with these little tabs, so if you wanted to hear about a specific character in the script, you can click on this character. Say if you want to hear about Zane, click on Zane and you will actually see Zane's bio that I've written down here. Obviously, you can't really edit this because that wouldn't really make much sense if you can actually edit this yourself, but it's there in case you guys want to read it, and I would recommend reading it before you actually check out the screenplay itself. Now, for the screenplay itself, I've uploaded it as a PDF file. You're just going to be able to click on it like so, and you guys can see the entirety of the script right here. You also have the ability to download it for yourself on your device, and of course, this was made using Celtics.com. Really good website for writing screenplays. I ended up using that a lot when I was in film school for a brief period of time. But obviously, like I said, yeah, feel free to read through this at your leisure. It is quite lengthy, about 97 pages if I'm remembering correctly, and I would recommend once again checking out this document before you actually get into the script itself. Now, like I explained in this document, the script is not the most professionally written thing out there. It's not, you know, the most, I guess, Hollywood thing. I'm not a professional screenwriter. I just do this for fun. So if some things don't make sense or if the formatting is just a little off, a little wonky, it's probably because I'm not a professional. This is just for fun. Now, obviously the script itself is 100% original. I did try to reference as many things about old Ninjago as I could. There are several references in the script towards various Ninjago events or various locations, but there are original things in there. There are things that I've created specifically for this script. Not everything comes from Ninjago's established lore. Now, the story itself was developed very late in 2020, obviously before the events of the Island and Seabound. As such, those events are not considered to be canon in this specific universe, and they're not really mentioned at all. So for example, Nia shows up in my story, obviously, but she's just a normal character. She's not this new water form or whatever Nia is right now in the context of Ninjago's actual show, and once again, that's simply because the Island and Seabound were not out yet when I started writing the storyline for this script, and I wasn't about to go back and change things regarding what Seabound established, so just for the sake of this script, the Island and Seabound never actually happened here. In addition to that, I do indeed have some drawings. Now, this art was indeed made by me. You'll see a couple of examples on your screen right now for various character designs, and I'm not the best artist ever, obviously, clearly. I took references based off of various figures that I had, and I just kind of created my own ninja suits, essentially. Obviously, there are going to be different designs for different characters, and disregard the horrible art. Like I said, I'm not an artist. I've been sharing these on Instagram recently, and some of you guys have actually asked if you can redraw these designs in your own style. Totally, feel free to do that. Obviously, everything in this project was created by myself, but obviously you guys can adapt it to your own art styles or whatever. Anything works. For another quick note about the story, I decided to up the violence a little bit. This is certainly PG-13 Ninjago. As such, the story can get quite graphic in terms of violence, so I suppose if you guys are sensitive to that kind of thing, the story might not be for you. If you're more used to the lighthearted, kind of campy feel of modern Ninjago, this story is going to be a little different. It's a little bit darker, it's a little bit edgier, dare I say, and yes, that does indeed mean an increase in violence. So like I said, if you're not a fan of that kind of stuff, stuff, this might not be the story for you. So I think that's just about going to do it for disclaimers, so why don't we go ahead and get into the actual meat of this project. What exactly is the story? I'm just going to read the actual plot that I have written down here in my notes. So the plot of this script goes as follows. Ninjago cessation takes place around 15 years following the conclusion of Ninjago Master of the Mountain. After several adventures, the team has disbanded. Each ninja has taken their own path, and Lloyd Garmadon remains the only active ninja. After a horrific encounter with the returned Overlord at the Temple of Light, Lloyd reluctantly reunites the team and realizes that they must work together one last time. The balance has truly shifted. For the sake of Ninjago, they must locate 4 ancient artifacts before the Overlord can shift the balance even further. So obviously, this plot is very reminiscent of older Ninjago stuff. We have the Overlord returning as the main antagonist. That was a decision that I made very early on, just because I think the Overlord deserves one last outing before the series actually ends. Also, the ninja locating 4 ancient artifacts or relics, yeah, pretty much inspired by the golden weapons, and almost every other time the ninja have some type of collectible, and obviously these artifacts we're going to get into right now. So the main MacGuffins of Ninjago cessation, if you will, are 4 cubes known as the Longings of Collision. These are 4 original artifacts that I've made exclusively for this script, and essentially how I worked them into the story was as follows. They were created after the first Spinjitzu Master split Ninjago into 2 halves several years ago. They are the physical embodiments of the combined power of light and darkness. Each cube represents one of the 4 primary elements. Collecting all 4 cubes can unlock unspeakable power for whoever unites them. So in terms of the 4 cubes, yes, these in my story were made when the first Spinjitzu Master split Ninjago right down the middle. We saw that, of course, during a flashback in Season 2, which is a scene that we do indeed revisit in my script. So in this world, these 4 cubes were essentially created when the Overlord and the first Spinjitzu Master clashed during that original final battle, and like I said, the powers were kind of fused into one area, that of course being the 4 cubes. The pure elemental power and raw strength of the 2 halves pretty much created these 4 cubes, and obviously the ninja are going to be hunting them down because the Overlord is also looking for them, and if the Overlord gets them, it's pretty much not going to be good for Ninjago or anyone else really, aside from the Overlord of course. For characters, some of the ninja are indeed in very strange positions as opposed to where we last saw them in the actual canon of the show. In my script, all of the ninja return, so we got Lloyd, Kai, Cole, Nia, Jay, and Zane. In addition to that, we have returning characters such as Pixel, Master Wu, and Masako. Also Skylar, wanted to put Skylar in there somewhere. Lord Garmadon is back as well. I bring him back following March of the Oni. He actually has something to do in this script, which is fun. It was really fun to write for Garmadon, so I hope you guys enjoy Garmadon's character. Also, in terms of bad guys, we have the Overlord, who, like I said, is the main antagonist, returning from his last appearance in Season 3, and a new character that I created is known as General Alces. He's kind of like this weird Wendigo deer moose creature, big hulking giant with very sharp claws. Now he is created by the Overlord and basically serves as his right-hand man, if you will. I do some really cool stuff with Alces, I think, in the script, so I hope you guys enjoy his character. He's kind of like the yes man type character. He just nods his head and does what he's told, and he's basically the embodiment of the Overlord's raw physical strength, so I figured that was worth mentioning. Once again, completely original character, and like I said, I do indeed have designs made for all these characters as well. Let's go through the 6 main ninja really quick and kind of discuss where they are. Now remember, again, this is essentially 15 years after Season 13 leaves off. I'm only going to touch on these characters very briefly because, like I said, there are fully written bios in my notes, so feel free to check those out if you want a little bit more context. In terms of Lloyd, he's essentially the only active ninja, and he kind of resents the rest of the ninja team for all of them leaving, but he also understands that they have lives and that they can't always be ninja forever. So I figured Lloyd would probably work best in that kind of complicated spot. He's kind of mad at the ninja team, but he's also, not super resentful. He understands essentially, and he has a lot of confidence in this script, I will say. Kai, after leaving the ninja team, essentially just became a blacksmith. He took over his father's shop, and he actively runs it with his wife Skylar and their daughter, who is another new character that I introduce in this script. Cole is kind of in a weird spot as well. In this script, Cole became king of Shintaro a long time ago, but he and Vanya actually ended up splitting up due to something in their relationship going wrong. It's not exactly explicitly implied in this script, but you're free to make your own judgments. But Cole essentially just retires to Styx and doesn't really have that great of a life. He's kind of down on his luck, but he's encouraging himself to try to bounce back in some way. In terms of Jay and Nia, these two have very similar fates. They got married sometime following season 13 officially after being quote-unquote engaged during season 10, and the two of them actually became school teachers at Master Wu's old academy, so similar to how we saw them during season 3. Now Jay is obviously the more laid-back of the teachers, while Nia is a little more strict, but students usually respond better to Nia's teaching styles as opposed to Jay's kind of laid-back style of teaching. And finally, Zane. Zane took over Borg Tower following the death of Cyrus Borg, and he's essentially one of the leaders of Ninjago City, using Borg Tower to supply as much as he can to the citizens of Ninjago, and obviously Pixel is basically running the company alongside of him. So Zane and Pixel kind of have a similar fate, just like Jay and Nia do. Overall, I'm actually quite happy and content with where these characters are, and obviously, judging from Ninjago's source material, we had a lot to pull from. We had at least 10 plus years of characterization, and I did my best to include as many character quirks as possible for each of these ninja, and there are more characters in the script, obviously, besides the 6 ninja, though I must say, I personally am quite comfortable with where these characters are, and I hope that you guys are excited to see how these characters develop and get to bigger and better places during this reading. I'm very excited to actually showcase the script to you guys, and I don't want to reveal too much here. I want to save some surprises for you guys until you actually read the script itself or listen to the audio recording that's going to be coming out on the channel later today, but I just wanted to give you guys a brief introduction to this script. Ninjago Cessation was a passion project that I've been working on over the past several months, and I'm quite happy with how it turned out, and I hope you guys enjoy it as well. It's not perfect, don't get me wrong, there are definitely some areas that I could point out as being plot hole-esque, but you know, I tried my best, I did what I could, and I'm quite happy with the result, so I hope you guys are too. Feel free to leave all your feedback down below in the comments of this video or on my upcoming read-through of the screenplay, which of course will be coming out later today. Stay tuned for that. In the meantime, guys, that's going to pretty much wrap it up for my thoughts here today. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you very much in advance for checking out the script. It means a lot to me that you guys check it out, and I thoroughly hope that you guys enjoy. Thank you all so much for the continued support. My name is TannerFishies, and with that I bid you farewell.